When you go out for new experiences, whether they are business related or personal related, whether you're doing it as part of a side hustle or as part of your job, whether you're a business owner or entrepreneur, or whether you're traveling with your family, what are the things that go through your head before you make a decision on how you're going to spend your resources when you are in a new experience? Think about this for a minute. If you're investing in a new program, do you invest in the lowest level you can, dip your feet in, try it out, and then go from there? Do you take advantage of all the resources that you possibly can? What's the thought process that goes through your head? You may notice as you look at this video, if you are watching the video, that I am not in my podcasting studio. In fact, I'm in a hotel room in Nashville, and there's been some experiences that have happened to me this week that have caused me to really think about how I have changed in the way that I look at my business, in the way that I approach my business, in the way that I approach new opportunities in my personal life as well. And I really wanted to dig into this topic with you. If you are looking for the best way to level up your happiness, your fulfillment, and most importantly, actually, that's not true. It's not most important. Your happiness, your fulfillment, and your business, then let's dig into this topic. My name is Amber Fuhriman, and this is the More Than Corporate podcast.
Welcome to the More Than Corporate podcast. I'm Amber Fuhriman, recovering perfectionist and serial accomplisher. If you're anything like I used to be, you've been living your life thinking that if you accomplish enough stuff, you'll finally find the success you've always wanted. But what if it's not about accomplishing more stuff? What if it's about accomplishing the right stuff? I believe you don't find success, you create it by intentionally designing the life you want and having the courage to get out of your comfort zone to live your design. I went from doing what I was supposed to do to doing what I love to do, and now I get to help others do the same. Keep listening as I chat with inspiring people who make it their mission to live their best life every day and learn how you too can live the life you've always wanted.
Before we jump into this topic, I want to remind you that the More Than Corporate podcast is sponsored by Success Development Solutions. If you are looking for that next thing that's going to improve the success that you have in your business and personal ventures, if you know that there's something missing, you just haven't been able to identify quite what it is, then let's have a conversation to see what we can do to help you set realistic goals, accomplish those, and move you further closer to your definition of success. Head over to successdevelopmentsolutions.com/life wheel. Download my free workshop there, and let's have a conversation about the next steps if that works for you. Okay, so how do you invest in yourself? We have these conversations all the time about what is the importance of investing in yourself. What we don't talk about enough is how you invest in yourself. So here I am in Nashville. I've been traveling a lot recently. So I left last Wednesday, had court in San Francisco on Thursday. I was planning on going back to Vegas for a few days before I headed to Nashville for this conference that I'm speaking at this weekend. However, a friend of mine reached out to me and told me that she was doing a crawfish boil and asked if it's something that I would be interested in coming down to. I know the caliber of people that this individual hangs around with, and I wanted to submerge myself in her network and be able to meet the amazing people that she was inviting to her home. So when I looked at what my options were, I decided to fly directly from San Francisco to Nashville, work from Nashville Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. So in case that didn't connect in my words the same way it did in my head, because it is important for the story, I was in San Francisco on Wednesday, had court on Thursday, left San Francisco on Friday, came directly to Nashville. Saturday, I went to my friend's crawfish boil. Sunday, I explored. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I did some exploration as well as some work, took some business calls, and then my conference starts on Friday that I'm speaking at. This looks so different than what it would have looked like in the past. So in the past, I would have said, oh, I'm going to be out of the office for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then I'm going to be out of the office the next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There's no way that I can justify being out of the office that long. The new me that has gone through the work and is able to see the possibilities instead of the reasons why something can't work, instead of saying this can't work, how can I make it work, was able to say, you know what? I work from home often anyways. There's no reason that I can't work from a home in Nashville for a few days. So I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity and still get some work done. That's the first step to being willing to invest in yourself, being willing to acknowledge the possibilities of how you can get something done when your initial thought is, there's no way, I can't afford to do that time or money. And I used to be that person. I never used to travel because I couldn't afford to do it. So I'm in Nashville and I'm looking at the experiences that I want to go to. And I'm looking at the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Musicians Hall of Fame and the Grand Ole Opry. And I start looking at ticket prices for these. And then I start looking at the add-ons and the real experiences and the backstage experiences. And I found myself buying and investing in the backstage experiences for most of the things that I did. If there was an add-on to a package, then I would get it. If there was an audio tour instead of a self-guided tour, I would do it. And I started thinking of how this is different than the way that I used to travel in the past. First of all, I wouldn't travel in the past because I would convince myself that I couldn't afford to be away from home. I couldn't afford the plane tickets. I couldn't afford the hotel. I couldn't afford any of it. And if I did travel, I would convince myself that I couldn't afford to do any of the touristy things that I wanted to do. And if I did allow myself to do something, it was always the lowest package. Now let's replace traveling with business. What I noticed on this trip as I allowed myself to be fully immersed in the experiences that were available to me is that I learned so much about Tennessee history. I learned so much about music. I enjoyed myself on a much deeper level. There was no guilt about where I was spending my time or resources because I was doing something that really fulfilled me instead of stepping in just partially and then convincing myself that I didn't have the resources to do what I really wanted to do. I would rather do 3 tours that are high level than invest in 15 or 20 little tours that aren't going to give me the full story. So let's step back and let's look at what this looks like in business. Are you the type of person who 100% invests fully in the experiences that you are choosing to invest in? Or are you the type of person that buys the lowest level package that you can and observes for a little bit before you figure out how and if you're going to dip your toes further in the water? Neither one of these are wrong. However, they do provide very different results. And so it's only wrong if you want the results of full investment and you're not fully investing. Let's look at what it looks like. Let's see what it sounds like and feels like when you allow yourself to invest this much when expecting this much results. You allow yourself to invest a little when you expect full results. Here's a prime example. Let's say there's a group coaching program that you're interested in or a topic that you're interested in, and you find a coach or a resource that provides you information and you want to dig in more. And you look at what resources they have available to you. You have the free Facebook group that you can jump into. Maybe they have a course that you can buy that's self-guided. Maybe they have some resources like a workbook, or they have a self-guided 12 or 16-week course. So you can look at investing in those. Or let's say that person has a group coaching program. Or maybe they have on above that some events. And then maybe above that they have one-on-one coaching. These are laid out with very specific intents and purposes for each specific program. And the amount of value that you get is normally very relative to the amount of investment. So in a free Facebook group, you're going to get the opportunity to connect with other people. You're only going to get the surface level of what that information has to offer, though. The person might give you the information and then not give you any hows of how to really use that information. If you go into a course, then you're getting some of the how do you use this information, but you're not getting any access to the tips and tricks that that individual has that can shortcut the mistakes that you might make. If you go into a group coaching environment, you're getting more access to the individual, but your time is still split with others. Now, that can be a good thing depending on what you want to accomplish. In an event, you might get a lot of different information and a lot of different resources for you to choose from, and then it's up to you how you implement those. And then with one-on-one coaching, you have the opportunity to really dig in and have a conversation that fits your needs and learn and have the coach pull back the curtain from what they've learned and how to shortcut your mistakes to get the most value. The problem that most people have is they invest in the short end or the low end of that spectrum, and they expect the results of somebody who invested in the high end or the one-on-one coaching. There's nothing wrong with investing on either side as long as you invest in yourself. What is harmful is if you're investing in one area and you're expecting results that are unreasonable for that area. I love to travel. I've always loved to travel. For a long time, I didn't allow myself to do it. When I did allow myself to do it, I would only allow myself to shortly or smallly invest in my trip. When I embraced the power of full investment in the experiences that I want, and instead of just walking around the city, I allow somebody to guide me around the city, then I have a much more enjoyable time. In your business, when you allow somebody to guide you through the mistakes that they've made, somebody to hold your hand as you make the decisions and ask you questions that will allow you to decide what's best for you, and you're not doing it on your own, you're going to get much faster results than if you're joining a free Facebook group or a self-guided course that they've created for you. I really wanted to talk about this because it hit me as I was really enjoying this trip in Nashville, probably more than any other trip that I've taken. What was different about this trip for me? And the answer is my willingness to invest in myself. So here's my challenge to you. As you decide what path you're going to take in the future, whether it's traveling or personal or your business, whether it's relationships, whatever it is, ask yourself whether you are really investing your time and resources and energy, whatever resources you have available, whether you're really investing them in the things that matter the most. Are you doing the small investment expecting the big results? Are you willing to spend the time that it's going to take to figure it out yourself with a small investment? Or would you rather dive in with somebody, have them shorten that time for you, and really be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish in a shorter period of time? Ask yourself how you're showing up in your investment opportunities and whether you're being realistic about the results that you expect to have. And then find out whether you're still congruent with that, because I promise you, investing in yourself is important. We talk about it all the time. But the moment that you choose to allow yourself to invest deeper, allow yourself to truly invest in what matters to you, then you will start to see results on a significantly bigger scale. This is so important in designing the life that you want to have, because you cannot design the life you want to have without the resources and tools and guidance that will allow to get there. So if you are not investing in the right places and you're not investing at the right level, you are hindering your results, personally and professionally. Always remember that you have the ability to design the life you've always wanted, and you owe it to yourself to have the courage to live it.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the More Than Corporate podcast. If anything that was said during this episode resonated with you or provided value in any way, it would mean the world to me if you would head over to iTunes and leave a rating and review for the More Than Corporate podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. I'm really looking forward to connecting with you. If you'd also like to connect, I've created a Facebook group that is full of amazing people who also make it their mission to live their best life every single day. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, the name of that Facebook group is Success Center. Head over there, request to join, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.